Welcome to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole, hosted by two nationally published Atlanta interior designers, Joanne Kandrak and Kelly Cole. These energetic women are also world travelers, charity givers, and bloggers with a wealth of information to share and stories to tell about the interior design world. Okay, now just a warning, this is going to be fun and not too serious. After all, they still do have an interior design business running at full speed.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Inside Design with Kandrak and Cole. This is episode 86, and today we're talking about your design questions. We're excited to do this again, where we answer questions from our audience related to interiors or challenges they face in their home. There's a lot of information at our disposal from shelter magazines, House, Pinterest, and other interior design blogs, but sometimes there might just be a little something nagging at you that you can't seem to find the answer to, so that's why we're here. Before we get into your questions, we want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by our friends at Helzer Brothers Hardware. Helzer Brothers is led by the dynamic duo of Jay and Mark Helzer. Not only are they innovators in the field of drapery hardware, they are highly complementary business partners. They have a passion for providing high quality and innovative products along with outstanding service. And we really, really encourage all designers out there to look them up, helzerbrothers.com.
So Kelly and I really believe that a well-designed room isn't really complete without custom window treatments. So we use Helzer Brothers hardware in almost, I think, every single project. Our favorites are the French pole and metal rods and finials. You can go to the gallery link, which shows these fabricated treatments already, so you can see what they look like and the use of the hardware. So they're open for business during COVID and are shipping the majority of their orders within 10 business days, which is great this time of year. They can customize anything, and any order over $100 ships free. You can find them at Helzer Brothers on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. And if you want to, listen to our interview with Jay Helzer on episode number 71.
So I'm so excited to get started with our first caller. We had everybody go to our website, and we put back our little Talk to Us Speak Pipe button that's on every page of our website. So anytime you want to leave us a voicemail that's quicker than typing or what have you, just tap that button. It comes straight into our email. So we reached out, put it out there on social media, asking people again what their design challenges were, and we got a great response. So let's hear from our first caller.
Hi, Joanne and Kelly. My name is Elizabeth. I live in Rowayton, Connecticut. I have a question regarding art. I have a very busy patterned black and white wallpaper in my powder room, and I'm having trouble finding art that works against it. Are there any design rules regarding art against busy paper such as mine, or what would you suggest as a purely decorative wall accessory? Thanks.
Great question.
Such a good question.
Because wallpaper has been back for a while. And when you do have somewhat of a busy wallpaper, you still want to put something on it sometimes. So a couple of suggestions. One would be, if you want to do something framed, I would use a very large mat, which would kind of take away or show something with a nice background behind it. And then also something that isn't necessarily art. There's some beautiful like decorative plates that you can put, on the wall. There's things that are not considered art. Cal, what would you say? Look,
Well, I had this situation in a couple places in my own home where, for example, in my powder room, I have this T-bow wallpaper that's all feathers, and it's all neutrals pretty much, but it's pretty busy. But it just felt still empty without art on the wall. So I have these sepia-toned photographs of my great-grandfather and one of my moms. So and like you said, they're matted very well. So it kind of creates a distance between the image itself and touching the paint.
Yeah.
So it's, you know what I'm saying? There's that mat and the frame separating, giving some distance there. And that looks really good. The other one that I have is in my dining area. I have a black and white, very busy Schumacher pattern like Elizabeth talked about. And I have this large black and white photography of a horse. So I think you kind of just got to hold it up and see what it looks like to your eye. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be art. It could be shelves. It could be large baskets. It could
gallery
be anything.
Gallery of mirrors.
A gallery of mirrors looks perfect on
really good because it reflects the paper on the other side and it looks really kind of pretty cool. But yeah, that's a great question.
I wouldn't be afraid of doing it. And I think just holding it up and just seeing like, ooh, that gives me a headache, or no, that flows. That's fine.
Yeah. And really, if like you said, if it's black and white, you have a lot of opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. To put something colorful on there.
That's a really good question.
Yeah. Okay. Caller number 2.
Hi, Joanne and Kelly. This is Amanda from Louisville, Kentucky. I have a question about my living room. I have custom drapery panels that are not exactly right. They're not full enough and a little too long, but I love my hardware. Would it be better to try and remedy these or start all over?
Well, my first question is going to be, if they were custom, they should be perfect. That's the one thing that, we really believe in custom, because then they will be exactly how they need to be. But several people, it is an investment for window treatment. So several people will buy ready-made. And I guess the advice there would be, do get them longer than what you think, because 9 times out of 10, they're very short. They're like flood pants. And so what you can do is, and if they're not full enough, you buy 2 and put them side by side. And then if they're too long, you could take them to, somebody who can sew a simple hem, or take them to a dry cleaner. I think they can do that. And just make sure that the length is, for me, I like them just a little bit above the floor so that I can kind of still dust underneath them. I wouldn't say chuck them. If you like your hardware, and if they're just long, I would have them hemmed.
And I would add 2 things to this. One, we had an install not that long ago, and we hung up beautiful custom-made draperies in their master bedroom, and they were stunning. We came back 2 months later to continue working on the house, and the panels were completely dragging on the floor, and we were freaking out. Well, the fabric had a lot of linen in it. It's summertime. It's very humid out. And this particular fabric just stretched and dropped. So luckily, we had enough room where all we're going to do is raise the hardware to fix this problem. And this happens also sometimes when we go to dress the panels after they've been installed and we steam them, and the steam just kind of lets the fabric go a little bit. So we have to be super careful when we're dressing the draperies. But so we got really lucky in this case. We're just going to raise the hardware. Sometimes we can adjust the pins a little bit on the header and kind of gain like 1/4 of an inch. But they shouldn't drag on the floor unless you want that look. I think it's a dust catcher and it's just dirty and
window treatments there's a lot of technical issues to it. And that's why Kelly's the window treatment queen, not me so much, because she's a little more technical in that area. But I've learned over the years the type of fabric that you're using. I mean, linens are beautiful, but when you use 100% linen fabric, they look very wrinkly. And unless you like that look, we have found that we can use some that are polyester that look a lot like linen.
Or linens that have just a touch of cotton in them or a touch of poly in them, just so they can be dressed a little bit better. If you don't want that loose, loose kind of slightly wrinkled look. The other thing that I would add about her question is, for example, in my guest bedroom, I did single. We used to do single width panels a lot, and we don't do them anymore. We do width and a half always, because single just looks a little wimpy. And I did single here, and it's just not full enough. So I keep them kind of, spread open, but I also added a cellular shade to the window. And that really just helped a little bit of layering and a little more texture and made it feel a little fuller.
I love a shade under a custom panel window treatment.
As much layering as you can get, the better dress the window looks.
And lining too. I mean, you're probably not going to get something lined if it's ready-made, and it just has more of a loosey-goosey kind of look. But if you are looking for professional, lay perfect custom,
draperies,
you have to use a fabricator that is their that's their wheelhouse.
Good question, Amanda. All right, who's next?
My name is Dexter, and I'm calling in from Charleston, South Carolina. First off, I have to say I love your show. I am moving into a new home, and I have lots of windows to cover because my neighbors' homes are fairly close, and I need privacy. My only experience is with wood blinds, but I'd like to upgrade to something nicer in this house. I just don't know where to begin with that. I am very interested in the technology to have my window shades open and close from my iPhone or my iPad. So Could you suggest any treatments or any options for that? Thank you so much.
All right. Before we get into the answer to this question, if you're not already a DJ, Dexter, I suggest you get into the business.
Absolutely.
I mean,
his voice. I was mesmerized.
I know. Well, it's funny that you're asking this question right now because we are dealing with this right now with a family that just bought a new home. They have 44 windows. Mm-hmm. There's some of the windows, are to the backyard that show, beautiful greenery or whatever. But then there are some that are definitely need privacy, bedrooms. And, sometimes you want it to be darker when you wake up. Mm-hmm. And so there were a lot of different treatments. We are a Hunter Douglas dealer. And so they have so many options. But I would say what you're talking about with the technology is called Power View. And that has become something we've done in almost every house. It allows you can have like what's called a pebble, which is like a little remote that you can have all of your window treatments go up at one time and then down. But the feature that you're talking about is, let's say that you are at the office and in the afternoon, the sun comes beating down and you want to
cool down your house.
You can just press the button. Mm-hmm. And it will shut them down. There's another feature where if you are getting ready to watch a movie and you can talk, it's very
tech friendly.
You can say movie time and then all of your shades will go down. But this is something that, when you have a lot of windows, there's kind of the high and low. There are some that are very reasonable and then there are some that are a little higher end. But Hunter Douglas, I will say, is the leader in that industry. And that's who I would check out first. Their warranty's unbelievable. And I don't know, Cal, you have quite a few in your house.
I do. I did in our lake house, we did a mix. We did the cellular shades, and cellular shades are those ones that you don't open and close like a wood blind. You literally I have what's called light rise, where I literally there's a kind of a plastic little handle on the bottom and you just push it all the way up and it pushes to the top of the window to about 2 inches.
And no cords.
No cords, no nothing. You can't see it. You can pick the opacity so you can have lots of light coming in, not a lot of light coming in. You can pick your texture, your color, what have you. So we have that on most of our windows. We have a tricky stairwell, so I did the applause as well, but I motorized them. So we have those where we just tell Siri, open or shut. And then we have sliding doors. I'm like, what am I going to do with sliding doors? I don't want those vertical blinds you used to see back in the day.
Plastic and they used to flap against each other.
And I'm like, I have to mix with the cellular shades. And it needs to be outside mounted. My cellular shades are inside mounted. What am I going to do? So I did what's called a roller shade. And a roller shade, again, has all different kinds of lift mechanisms. I did choose one with a continuous cord. So it's not a loose cord that's, dangerous for babies, but it's just a continuous cord. And it literally just goes all the way to the floor. And then it comes up into a cassette. It's a little bit bulkier and bigger than the nice slimline cellular, but it looks so good. And people love it when they're sleeping.
Roller shades, I think, are the top product that Hunter Douglas sells. And so for people that don't really know what that is, you will probably notice when you go into most restaurants that they have these on their windows. They're a shade. They're a flat shade. A lot of times they have the cord is like that beaded chain. Mm-hmm. And once again, on the opacity, you can have it down and it blocks the glare, but you can kind of still see outside. They're awesome. I think they're one of the best products that they have.
So, Dexter, if you're overwhelmed, to answer your question, what I would do first is go to the Hunter Douglas website, which is very intuitive, very, very informative, and just kind of look through all their products. Some get kind of snazzy and the price will be kind of high, but don't put a top of the line blind in your potty room or in your garage or in your, keep them for where you're really using, maybe your family room, maybe your bedroom, where you'd love to get in bed and just hit a button and down they go or up they go in the morning or what have you. So
the other nice thing about the Hunter Douglas website is they have a lot of videos on there and they show all the different, there's light rise, which Kelly was talking about, that lifts up. There's others that are this cord that you just kind of pull. There's a lot of different options that they show you really well on the website. And then the other thing is the power view. This is funny. We did of the first floor of a home for a couple, and they wanted the power view in their bedroom and a couple of the windows in the family room.
Right.
So they got installed. They loved them so much. The problem was
oh yes, I know what you're talking about.
That you can't do the power view after they're in. It has to be a new product. And they just said, we're willing to just take the other ones down, and we want power view everywhere. And that's happened a couple of times.
And we were like, oh my God, who wants these? I mean, they were, already pretty pricey, and it was like, and they were just like, no, we can't have them. We need motorized. And so we took probably like 7 down. Mm-hmm. So we were just trying to find a home for them.
But it's one of those things that once you have it, you're like, oh yeah, I can't live without this now. Or the other thing is, if you have a second home, a lot of times people are very worried that people can see that they haven't been there for a while or the blinds are down. And so that's a great time to use your iPad or your iPhone to have them go up and down and look like you're there.
Exactly. That is a very good point. All right. Good question, Dexter. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Lindsay, and I am calling from Nashville, Tennessee. By the way, I love your podcast and your design aesthetic and all of your tips. So I thought I would reach out. I am the business development manager and creative director for a law firm. So I typically am in a lot of client meetings, but because of the climate and the current challenges we've been facing with communication and being face-to-face with our clients, I am finding myself on Zoom at least half of my day. So I have reconfigured a small room at my house dedicated to my workspace. And I do consider myself to be savvy in fashion and design, and I'm a graphic designer. So I thought creating a visually appealing backdrop would be easy. However, every time I'm in a Zoom meeting, I spend too much of my time focused on what is wrong with my background and not enough time on my client. I'm picking it apart and trying to figure out how it can come across better on video. So I'm curious if you have any tips for how to make, a small home office look professional and stylish, but particularly in using that space for virtual sales meetings or just any kind of virtual video type meeting. Also, I'm very curious if there are certain colors that you would suggest that kind of come across better in video than others. Would love any advice you might have. Thank you both so much.
That's so good.
Yeah, this is a huge topic, and this is a pet peeve of Kelly and mine. Mm-hmm. I will say, the thing is, when you're on Zoom, you can see yourself. What I seem to notice is a lot of people, like, they don't have their computer face straight ahead with their face. Like, I can see their ceiling, or they're not center of the screen. So at a minimum, just make sure that you're center of the screen and that you're either not too close, I don't want to see your nostrils, or that you're so far that you don't feel like you're, part of the call. As far as backgrounds go, a couple of things. A lot of people will tell you probably something solid, so that whenever you're wearing something, now Kelly and I have opted for a beautiful fabric to put behind us, but we usually wear something solid when we're doing that. I was on a Zoom call yesterday, and it was the first time we had purchased a ring light. What brand is that, Kelly?
It is...
Because it was really nice.
Mount Dog.
Yeah.
We got it on Amazon.
So it was the first time I had put it together. I was very proud of myself because I'm not really good at that. So I put it together and I kind of angled it on my face. And when we were on this call yesterday, I felt like I was right in where I needed to be. My background was good. And the light didn't look fake by any means.
No, and she looked so much better than me because I was at home, and don't think I didn't get on Amazon the second where our call ended, and I bought a little... It's the same Mount Dog because I love the brand and all that they offer, but it's a 10-inch round one that's a tabletop version. Yeah. So,
and it's just so interesting because there were 4 of us, and everybody's lighting was different. Everybody's kind of camera quality was different, but I think the lighting is key. One person had, they were in their office and they had their company sign behind them, and that was okay. She was pretty good. Mm-hmm. Another person had
was in her office,
a mishmash of stuff,
right? With kind of filing cabinets and stuff.
And so, as far as like looking professional, like I notice on TV, these people that are from their homes, they always seem to have this bookshelf, with all those books back there and picture frames and things.
And it probably depends on your industry and if people care. Of course, in our industry, I always look at the background first before I even look at the poor person. So this is what I did yesterday before this call, because I just created a new office for myself in my home, and I don't have it done yet. I didn't tell you this. I jumped onto the call a little early so that I had the Zoom camera on me so I could see what everybody would see behind me.
Yeah.
And then I did a little stylizing real quick based on what the camera saw. And I kind of like moved a plant over on a book and I kind of moved a little thing over because I didn't want to distract myself by what my background was.
I have found what's easiest for me. I don't want to see a lot of different things behind you, even if I really like a solid background or a fabric or something, because invariably you've got like a lot of times you'll see a person's door opening into another room, or there's a table there. There's like a lot of things where I feel like if it's solid or there's or some kind of drape, then the person can focus on your face and not be distracted by what's behind you. So, and as far as color goes, I don't know. I guess whatever color you look good in front of.
Yeah, I think, definitely. I don't think there's this color's best on Zoom. I think about, like yesterday on our call, I put a pink shirt on because pink looks best on me, and I just figured it would light up my face. But so I wouldn't worry so much about that. But I do think a ring light is something that everybody needs, and they're very inexpensive and easy to find on Amazon.
Yeah, I hope that helped, Lindsay. That was a great question.
It was a great question. All right, who's next?
Hey, Kelly and Joanne. I'm calling about a designing dilemma I have. This stairwell, coming down the stairwell, the wall is really large, and I have high ceilings. I have no idea what to do with that. There is no judges paneling or anything on that wall. I was hoping you could give me some ideas, some kind of affordable suggestions that I can do. Thank you. My name is Donna.
All right, Donna, this is a question that we get asked all the time when we walk into people's homes, because I think that anytime you have a big expanse of wall, people think that it needs to be addressed. And I totally get that. But one thing I would say, I'm going to give you two different answers. The first one is leave it be. It's kind of like for all of you that have a double-story family room and you want to treat that upper part. I think if your home is well dressed and it looks great, your eye will stay at eye level and not be so inclined to move up the wall. Now, if you don't like that answer, then my second answer would be think big and think interesting. So it could be a large tapestry. It could be a large decor, not necessarily art. It could be, you've seen many people have the galleries going up their walls. You could do that. If you did it, I would don't do a lot of little frames, do big ones, do them well framed, well matted. I would do black and white photographs because color photos can get really busy. And please don't have them just be the standard, pose for the school picture or let them be animated and natural photographs.
The other thing I think too is it depends on the width of that stairway. If it's very narrow, I mean, you don't want this stuff walking up the stairs and practically touching these things. Now, if you have a wide stairway, I think you can get away with that a little bit better.
But honestly, I think, Donna, even if you let it be and you've got art kind of down below and then art up above, for the staircase to be a place for the eye to rest and to be empty is absolutely acceptable. Yeah. So, good question. Who's next?
Hi there. My name is Danielle, and I live in Columbus, Ohio. And I had some design questions for you. Actually, it's my design dilemma, I would say. We recently purchased a brand new home that was a new build just this past October, and there really is a clean slate. It's mainly an entire white household at this time. But one of the biggest dilemmas I have before I do anything is over the kitchen island, there are rough-ins for 2 pendant lights. And the kitchen island, I would say, is about 8 feet long, maybe, give or take. And maybe, I couldn't even say, probably like 4 feet width. And the 2 pendant lights that I've just been struggling with what to pick, I know it's hard to give me advice without seeing it, but it's a pretty modern look to the household. The countertops are like a white marble. I think it's really quartz, but it looks white marble. And right now, all the kitchen cabinets are white with mostly chrome finishes. And the sink is in the island, and the actual sink faucet, I should say, has more of like a oil rub bronze. It's more darker. metal tone, but everything else, the vent hood, the appliances, everything else is, of course, the sterling or the silver, not sterling silver. What is it called? Yes, you probably understand the metal look to it. So we're not real sure what our feel is and what exactly I want it to look like, but I'll take any advice.
It's funny because kitchen island pendants have become like jewelry of the home.
Yes.
Like they've become so much bigger and so much more interesting. So my first reaction would be, if you've got stainless, in most places, I wouldn't do stainless pendants. I think that's a lot of the same. I think you need a mix, where in this particular case, I would go with something black, maybe black and chrome mix. And I would stay away from the oiled rubbed bronze. Hopefully it's black. And then have them just be statement pieces, but I would stay away from the stainless or pewter. It's just too much of the same.
There's just so many options out there right now, and there's a lot of mixes. Mm-hmm. And she obviously has, she said chrome, she said stainless, she said old rump. So she's got a lot of finishes already. So really take a look. Build.com is a quick and easy one to look at. We love Curry & Company that we talk about all the time. We love Visual Comfort. There's so many places you can go. Shades of Light has a great selection, but also look at like rattan. Look at some non-metal versions of pendants. They're so interesting and they're so mixed, but go a little bit bigger than your comfort zone. What I generally do, we were just in a client's house yesterday. She had 3 pendants she wants replaced. They're currently 8 inches wide at the bottom. And we can just tell by looking at it that we could go to about 12-inch diameter. So just above all, know your measurements before you even start looking. But definitely probably go bigger than what your builder put in. And let them be a statement. I think there's so many possibilities. And yeah, thanks for pendants. But they need to be super cool. It's not something I would just throw up there.
Yeah. And look at House. Just put in the search pendants over kitchen island, and you'll be able to see a lot of choices.
Good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is it. God, those were really good questions. I love when we do this.
We always get good questions.
We do. I love it. I love it. All right. We're going to wrap up, guys, with our quotes for the day. Which one would you like?
I want the serious one.
Okay. I'll do the funny one. All right, ready? Here's your laugh for the day.
It feels like the funny ones. Corona, just these are everywhere.
They just keep on going, right? Yeah. All right. Coronavirus has turned us all into dogs. We roam the house looking for food. We're told no if we get too close to strangers, and we get really excited about car rides and walks. It is so true. Oh my gosh.
All right, here's your serious quote for the week. At the end of life, what really matters is not what we bought, but what we built. Not what we got, but what we shared. Not our competence, but our character. And not our success, but our significance. Live a life that matters. Live a life of love. Simple.
I love that.
That's sweet.
Not what we bought, but what we built.
Yep.
Not what we got, but what we shared. Yeah. That's so good.
I really like that.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we are off to Scott Antique Market, one of our favorite happy places here in Atlanta. They've been closed for the last 2 months, and they are finally open. So we are going to don our masks and go and roam the aisles of antiques and all things good here in Atlanta.
So if you ever have a question, just go ahead to the SpeakPipe. We'll compile them, and then when we get enough, we'll do another series of this. It seems to be what everybody likes. So thanks for the questions, everybody, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Join Joanne and Kelly weekly for a lively conversation about trends, travels to industry events, current design projects, the good, the bad, and the ugly, do's and don'ts, product recommendations, and more. Be sure to follow the fun on Facebook. They're on Instagram at Candrak-Cole, and of course, you've got to visit them online at candrak-cole.com for more information.